Hello and welcome this morning. I've only just got up myself. I'm sure some of you might still be in bed with your cup of tea, as we were suggesting, because it's a lovely thing to see this moth reveal and to think about the way moths are behaving and how we are, and the lead up to COP26, because this is the penultimate watch moths. We've got one more left when we get back from COP26, and maybe we'll have a bit of a party. But I think we better get going and see our first mother, who is Simon Bates in Exeter, UK, and in the woods somewhere. Simon, where are you?
Morning, everybody. I got my cup of tea about an hour ago and and then came up to this small woodland on the edge of Exeter to see what I'd caught. It's really warm, unseasonably warm, really, very still, very beautiful actually, and tranquil. And I was thinking, a really good night for moths. And I have got some moths, but not the diversity that I would have expected. Whether that's because of the warmth, it was very, very still, and often it's good to have a little bit of movement in the air, particularly obviously for the migrant moths coming in. A nice southerly breeze is good for that. But I have got the thigh rubbing moth to show you. But first of all, let me just zoom around and just show you again where I am. So it's a bit of secondary woodland, really. It's an old slope. You look on the old maps and you can just see a field here in the past. And so I think this woodland has grown up in the last sort of 50 or 60 years. There's quite a lot of ash, and the ash is sadly looking rather stressed. And so I really hope that the Wildlife Trust have landed their £2 million funding from the lottery for saving Devon's treescapes, because we really need that work to go ahead. There's some rather nice oak here. It's only a small tree, but there's a really nice understory of ferns and blackthorn, and there's some Rose of Sharon there actually as well. Anyway, you want to know what's in the trap, so let's have a look. And I think the first thing I'll go to is a rather classic moth. Perhaps many people have created this one for the big show. A rather lovely triangular shaped thorn moth, and the thorns, I suppose they're rather like butterflies, aren't they? This one is the feathered thorn, and this one emerges at this time of the year as an adult. It's got rather beautiful, hopefully you can see, it's got a rather beautiful white spot on the corner of the wing there. So this is a moth. A lot of these moths at this time of the year, obviously as adults, will lay their eggs on their food plant. The food plant of this one is several varieties of tree and shrub, oaks and thorns, hawthorns and blackthorn, and plums and things like that. And they'll lay their eggs on the twigs of the food plant, and those will overwinter as eggs, and then they will hatch into larvae in the spring and start to feed on the lush green growth of the food plants through the summer, and then pupate. This one pupates underground, just in the surfaces, just under the surface of the soil, and then emerges as an adult at this time of the year.
And it's lovely, Simon, but those sorts of moths that are all the colours of autumn, do you get more moths, those sorts of colours in autumn, to go with the colour of the land around, or is it just...
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, because it's all about blending in, isn't it, and avoiding being eaten by birds. So here's a moth that blends in with the autumn colours, not so much on my egg box. I'm pretty sure this is a rather plain coloured, plain variety of the beaded chestnut. Usually they're more strongly marked than that. But you can see how, if that was, against an autumn leaf or this bracken here, then that would blend nicely. And talking of blending in, let me go straight to the thigh rubbing moth. Oh, sorry, you don't want to see me. What am I doing? Bear with. So of course you can see on that twig there, this green brindle crescent, can't you?
No, I can't actually. I'm sure I'm quite.
Surely you can.
Oh, there he is. Wow.
There we go. Aren't moths wonderfully adapted?
Mm.
And yeah, so hopefully am I picking up that metallic green? Perhaps not so much. We could do with a little bit more light, I guess.
Mm.
They are.
But it is totally melded into the twig, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
So again, this one is, as an adult now, will be laying its eggs on the twigs of the food plant. They like thorns, blackthorn, hawthorn, this species. And this one overwinters in a cocoon. It makes a robust cocoon. And perhaps is more successful because of that, because of the protection that it gets from the cocoon. Yeah, again, that will emerge in the spring when the oaks and the blackthorns, of which there is quite a lot of blackthorn here, when that lush green growth is coming out, they will feed on that. I was looking at the distribution map of green brindle crescent. It's widely distributed, a bit less frequent as you get further north. I've got a little lunar underwing here, so called because on the underwing it has a nice sort of dark crescent shape like the moon. That's a little bit blurry.
No, it's all right. We can
Right.
see.
Got some lovely, nice pipping, black pipping on the hind wing there. That's common moth at this time, although I've only caught one. And that, I mean, there's a few. I did have something, so I think I had a chestnut as well. And I've got the first few of these November moths.
Oh, well, I'm glad to see those because we're just heading into November.
Well, it's a November or December. There's a few species. There's pale November, and December moth. They all look incredibly similar, and it's one of those that you unfortunately need to look at its sexual organs, which is a rather appalling thing to do, isn't it? I think that's about it from me, because I'm hoping that Barry and Amy have got some more diversity than I've had here.
Yeah, well, we think you've got a lovely range of moths there, Simon, and it's great that your moth trap was there all night in a public place and wasn't disturbed as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've had any problems actually. I do. The thing is, it's not a very powerful light, so as you can see, the light is still on. And actually, when I came down into the woodland, I was only 15 meters away, and I thought, oh, the light's gone off, but it hadn't done. So that is an advantage, really.
Yeah, lovely. Well, thank you for showing us those beautiful moths. We might come back to you later, but we're going to go to a film made by the Devon Wildlife Trust with their trustee Barry Henwood, who also happens to be the moth recorder for Devon. And this film, the Devon Wildlife Trust decided to join us this month because they've been inspired by Moths to a Flame project, and also because all their members are obviously very keen on moths and are wanting the planet to be a healthier environment for nature, including humans. So let's see Barry and see what he found. I think actually I have watched this and it was quite a cold night. So let's see him in the woods in Newton Abbot.
Right. Good morning, I'm Barry Henwood. I'm here with Devon Wildlife Trust. We've run this moth trap overnight. We had hoped to do it at Devon Wildlife Trust's Woodder Farm, but unfortunately we weren't able to. And so we've set it up at Abbots Kerswell in a nice woodland here, which is a county wildlife site. So we'll see what it shows. Many of the moths, of course, that we catch here will also occur at Woodder Farm. So here's the first one on the outside of the trap, a common marbled carpet. Let's see what's settled inside. So the moths settle on these egg boxes. It was quite cold last night, so there may not be a lot. Here we are. So we've got two moths here that are both lunar underwings, but they look rather different. I'll just tip them out onto my hand. So there we are. So two very different colour forms. In fact, it's quite frequent amongst very common moths that they're variable, and the idea is that birds tend to choose one prey item and stick to it, and by being variable they can reduce the predation. So that's a grass feeding moth, which would be common at Woodder. And we have another lunar underwing there. And another lunar underwing. This is something different now. So this is a moth called the snout. It's called the snout because of the projection in the front, which structurally is actually its labial palps that are sticking out well in front there. And more lunar underwings. So it really is the night of the lunar underwing. And three more lunar underwings.
So if they have different colour variations, how can you tell that it's a lunar underwing?
Well, that's a good question. If I know by the forewing pattern, and I guess I've come to know the forms, but if I hold this moth gently and pull the forewing apart, that's the sort of the white hindwing with the dark patches, which I guess is why it's called the lunar underwing. But anyway, so there we are. I haven't harmed it. It's fine. And we have two more lunar underwings.
What's their food plant?
Right, the food plant is grasses. So the caterpillars feed low down, eating grasses, and they'll come up at night to feed. And in fact, once putting the moth trap on a grassy lawn, underneath in the morning were a couple of caterpillars of the lunar underwing. So they obviously go underground by day, or at least very low down in the grass, or something maybe underground, and then they come up at night to feed. So I'm sorry, but there isn't a great variety to show today. But anyway, the lunar underwing clearly is doing very well. It's a grass feeding moth, although we're in woodland here, but it must have probably been breeding in the lawn the other side of the hedge here.
So thank you to Barry, and there we are. Ironic, really. The woodland on, I think, when was it? think it was Tuesday night. It was really cold, and so obviously the lovely Lunar Underwing was the brave moth that ventured out, and all the other moths stayed still and cozy in on the bark and under the leaves, didn't they? So Barry mentioned a place called Woodder Farm. Last night we saw that on a Spotlight news article that we showed as part of the broadcast, because Devon Wildlife Trust are running that as an example to, I suppose, to use nature to make our carbon use as low as possible and the emissions as low as possible, to be as sustainable as they can be. So it was a little article about that, the way they're going to work with nature to do that, to find solutions to the climate emergency. But Barry mentioned it because when he last went there to see what moths were living at Woodder, he got a whole moth trap full of hornets, and we really didn't want to show you a live reveal of hornets and somebody being stung. So that is a danger occasionally, very rarely, but it is a danger to get some insects that are a bit lively and not so easy to handle in the morning. Right, well, we've seen a woodland on a warm night at the end of October with ash and so on from Simon, and we've seen a sort of urban edge woodland near Newton Abbot with Barry, similar to a woodland at Woodder Farm. Next, we're having a break from the Moths to go to one of our collective, our team, Chloe Uden, who is just going to tell us a little bit about how we're doing in our project.
Hello. So lovely to be here. This is a Saturday that is going to be full of stitching moths together. So we've been receiving thousands and thousands of moths through the post and in bags left on doorsteps and in packages. And we're preparing them all for the installation in Glasgow. So because at the end of next week, in fact, this time next week, we're going to be going all the way up to Glasgow in an electric van, which has been a bit of an epic project trying to sort out an electric vehicle during COP. But anyway, I'll tell you about that in a minute. But first, I was hoping that I could share with you a spotlight video that we have made about what has been happening with the project so far and what's going on in this last week.
Now, what do you get if you combine activism with art? Now, you have to put your teeth in for this. Craftivism, I think that's right, just about. It's a movement that's gathering momentum, especially in the run-up to the COP26 climate conference. More and more activism through art projects are being launched as a way of spreading environmental messages. And one that's really taken flight started in Devon. Emma Raminsky reports.
Opening the post might take a while. The Art and Energy Collective are expecting 20,000 homemade moths to arrive in the next few days.
We hope to see pictures of the finished artwork and hope the world leaders will heed the messages the moths convey. Wishing you every success.
They come from as far away as Australia and Norway, along with messages asking world leaders to tackle climate change. Everyone from brownie groups to care homes will have their artwork on show in Glasgow as part of the Moths to a Flame installation.
So we've had envelopes with 60 moths in them, and then we've had envelopes with just one beautiful moth that's been really, thought through. And especially we really love it when people pop a little note in with their message they'd like to be sent up to COP as well and what it's meant to them.
The project uses recycled materials and a bit of creativity. All you need is an old milk bottle, a permanent marker and some scissors to make your own moth.
Just trace along the outside of the line with your marker pen.
But why did they choose moths to convey their message to COP26?
The collective noun for moths is a whisper of moths, and we felt that as ordinary people in the southwest, our voice is just like a whisper to those world leaders making big decisions on our behalf. But maybe if we could all send a whisper together, that might make a bit of a noise and it might attract attention.
A much smaller exhibition of Exeter's creative efforts can already be seen at Princess Hay.
Well, the installation in Glasgow is going to be in the Botanic Gardens, so it's going to be surrounded by plants from all over the planet, and there's going to be about 15 times as many as that in among the plants.
The organisers claim moths are often a sign of the health of an ecosystem, and they've used the project to learn more about the insects' numbers in Devon and share the knowledge of experts with the public.
So in the time it's taken for you to watch this story, I've made Little Moth here. You've got a week to make yours if you want to take part, and your message could be going off to COP26 and Glasgow. Emma Minsky, BBC Spotlight in Exeter.
Good effort, Emma. On to the sport now. And this.
So no one has a week left. We've got 2 days left until we have our deadline for receiving moths. So if you can get a moth to us by Monday, then we can definitely all go in. But we do have a bit longer to be able to record messages, so that's good. Now, you will have heard Jenny and me just loving receiving the messages from all of the people who've been participating. And I thought that this would be a nice moment to introduce you to Kat Andrews, who's just such a brilliant part of our team. I don't know whether we could have even got anywhere near this without her. Kat, are you happy to share? Well, show us a pile of the messages. We've received so many.
Well, good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm the honoured keeper of the letters. I've got a huge pile here. There's about 30 just in this pile, and some of them are just beautiful cards, lovely notes from people of all ages. One from Australia. I'm going to read you this one. I like this one because I cut it to the shape of a moth, and I like this message from Mary in Hereford. She says, "Dear Plymouth team, enclosed are 70 moths made with friends, mostly sitting in the garden in lovely September sunshine with tea and cake. Wishing you every success for setting up the display in Glasgow and looking forward to a better future. All the best." I thought that one was really nice, but we've got many special ones like that.
Oh, it just delights me. I almost have to have a little cry every time I see them. So one of the things, because it's so special how many people have made such an effort to be involved in this, we are really proud that we've been nominated for the Sustainability First Art Prize, which is just a mega awesome thing to happen for our whole collective, and all of us have been part of the project. I'm going to share the screen just to show you this. So this is, if you were to Google sustainabilityfirst.org.uk art prize, you will come across this fantastic list of oh, I can't scroll down. Let me just go and see if I can scroll down now. Yeah, here we go. So this is a wonderful collection of other art projects that have been made across the UK this year in that kind of craftivist, artivist, let's respond to the climate emergency type way. But you'll notice about halfway down the Art and Energy Collective's Moths to a Flame project. And I would love it if you could all go ahead and vote here and vote for the Moths to a Flame project to win the People's Choice Art Prize, because I think it would really reflect everyone's amazing hard efforts to bring this project to fruition. So the last thing I wanted to tell you about was our electric van. We're leaving on Friday from Plymouth with our van full of moths and things that we need to set everything up. And we're using a van from a company called eVision. It was actually unbelievably tricky to find an electric van to drive up, but we've got one and we're going to fill it up, and hopefully we're going to be doing a little bit of Facebook Live all the way up. So please follow us on Facebook and see what's happening as we go along, and you can see how it all looks as we set up.
And Chloe, are you looking forward to hanging the strings? Well, you know, with yours and my experience of hanging all those strings up in Princess Hay, what do you?
We hung 30 strings of moths up in Princess Hay, and each layer of each string, well, in fact, it was 60 because each of the strings that we had was 2 strings of moths tied together. And it took us about 4 hours to get 1,000 moths up. And each of the layers of moth had to be carefully packed between sheets of chip paper so that they didn't get tangled up. Basically, what happens is that the moths and their threads really, really like to get in a tangle. We're going to have to do a whole load of, I don't know, sort of Reiki or some kind of energy work to try and get everything calm before we go in, because at the moment that we get stressed, the whole thing's going to turn into kind of tangle. So hopefully we've got enough time to install all of the moths.
It's going to take about how long have we left ourselves? 5 days. 5 days. It's 6 of us, 6 or 7 volunteers, sort of.
Yeah. But it took us 4 hours to get 1,000 moths up. We've only got 20 hours for the install, so that is rather stressful. But hopefully, with the extra experience that we've got and the volunteers that are helping us, hopefully it'll go all right.
Yeah. So we, like Chloe says, we're going to be doing this Facebook Live every day. So if you're interested or your friends are interested, you can see the progress of the installation because we're going to try and do it.
We've got Naomi, I was just thinking we've got quite a lot of the Plymouth Energy community team coming to help us as well, don't we? I'm quite excited about that because during COVID we've not really had as much chance to do face-to-face collaboration and creative work together, have we? And so finally our teams are going to have a proper chance to spend time together, and looking forward to that as well.
Thanks Chloe. So the project is getting near to completion, and we're highly stressed at the same time as being really excited. And I think we mentioned Plymouth Energy Community there, who have been partners and part of the collective in the project since its initiation. Since we started thinking about it, well, we started working with them 3 or 4 years ago, but in the last 2 years, we've been doing this Moths to a Flame. So I'm going to hand over to Claire, who has got up early in the morning as well to join us. Claire works with Plymouth Energy Community, and she is going to talk. Well, I'm just going to hand over because you've been thinking about everything that COP has got to make decisions about, haven't you, Claire?
I have. You've made me all emotional. That spotlight, that I hadn't seen it. I knew it was going to come out, and it came out, and I was sat here like a heap. It's ridiculous. Wipe away. How beautiful to see all that effort and to see it coming from across the world. I was talking to Alistair McPherson, who's our chief executive, and Chloe's right. We haven't had a lot of time to be together in one space because of COVID, but we were the other day, and some of us went down to try and use the sewing machines, and it didn't go particularly well, in all honesty. But one thing that Alistair did bring away with him, and myself, was just the pure delight in opening a box and seeing where things have come from. It's a real treasure chest, isn't it? Each time you open one, and there's so much thought and good intent behind all of it. You can't fail to be moved by it. So, what a wonderful thing. And it kind of contrasts with what I'm about to talk about, because there's all that frenzied activity happening in the background, us trying to get ready, everybody else, I'm sure, across the globe doing all sorts of things, trying to get in line, ready to go up to COP. And then there's this weird sort of holding, this weird sort of stasis, the waiting that's happening elsewhere. And so I was just going to cover some things that we're waiting for. So I was in a conference yesterday of you know, I wasn't physically there. Obviously, it's another one of those that you dial into and you sit with your little tray on your lap for a couple of hours and listen to the great and the good talking about what the plans are for energy efficiency and what we should be doing to houses and all the good things that will get us in a better place and people warm and well at home. And it was just a theme, and it was waiting. We're all waiting, and this next week, this next 10 days are essential. On government side, we're waiting for policies and plans. So we've got spending review coming up, and it's important what's in that. Nobody knows what's going to be in it. So that is due, I think, next week. We've got the net zero strategy that's got to land before COP26. We've got the heat and building strategy, which should tell us, you know, how we're going to be heating buildings in the future and how we can make that sustainable. So that's all. I'm sure there's frenzied activity around those as well. In all the government departments who are trying to put them together before they have to release them. And then for residents, it's a waiting game as well. We're in this really strange situation at the moment where gas prices have rocketed. And as a result, for the first time ever, I think the advice that Plymouth Energy community can give to residents who are struggling to heat their home is do nothing. Do nothing, wait. And when I say that, I mean around switching, finding better deals. They don't exist at the moment. They don't exist. You are better where you are. So wait, let's see what happens. And that feels really alien to us. So that's a very strange situation. We're also waiting for, I don't know if you've heard, the household support grants have been released. So where you're losing your uplift in universal credit, that's dropping down, so you're losing income. They've released a sort of crisis fund called household support grants, similar to COVID winter grants that we helped give out last year. So it's 421 million, I think, has been released to local authorities. But again, we have to wait because we have to work out who's going to get them, how are they going to get them, who's going to be able to distribute it, because there's not a lot of people left in local government and not everybody has a community energy organisation that can step in and support with that sort of thing. And then COP coming up, and again we're waiting. Are the trains going to strike? Can we get anywhere? Who knows? I haven't got a clue. My heart had a flutter when I read that. No, not now. I'm really sympathetic, but not now. So will there be disruption? Will people come? And I'm sure that they will. Looking at the film that we've just seen, I'm sure that they will. But yes, that's it really. We have to wait and see. Let's wait and see. But you can only hope that around the globe there's as much passion and interaction and joined up good stuff like we've been doing here, and then things have got to get better, haven't they? I think so.
They have. It is a bit of a lull, and as you say, that's a good theme to think about.
Can I ask a question from Moths? My dad found something neon in his garden. Hold on. Can you see that? Can you see it? Can you see it?
Can't really see it.
Fuzzy neon yellow. It's spiky. It's fuzzy. It's neon yellow.
Oh well, I'm wondering, Simon, did you say that?
Is it a caterpillar?
It's a caterpillar.
Yeah, that's great, because that was the caterpillar I showed last night, the pale tussock moth, I think.
Is it? It's got almost a little horn at the top. Is that the sort of red?
Yeah, it's punky.
Yeah, it's punky.
Yeah. Well, he's not waiting. He's just getting on with his.
He's off. He's getting on with it.
Getting on with his life, looking for somewhere to hibernate. Maybe, Simon, or is he just munching away and then will become a pupa over winter? Simon's.
Along, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's good then. So you've got your answer to the moth. The moth is showing us the way, and we will. Well, everybody will wait to see what this final installation is like, and we'll also wait and hope that some of these world leaders and everybody working for them are listening to our messages. And it's not just this project, as everyone knows, it's hundreds of projects, thousands and millions of projects around the world with lots of people like us who want to see some change. So Thanks, Claire. We'll see you up in Glasgow, but we'll probably see you on Friday before then. Yes, on our beginning of the journey. So now next we go back to mothers, real live mothers. We have Amy Walkden in her garden, and she is joined by Barry for real, who might have found more than a lunar thorn. Don't know.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Barry again, and we've got Robin who's going to do a little bit of presenting as well this morning.
Oh, great.
It's very misty here. It feels very early. We're all a bit bleary. I caught the grand total of 4 moths in my trap. Barry has considerably more, and some black rustics as well, Simon, for you. So I'm going to turn the camera around, and Robin, you're going to do your bit with our. In fact, there's only 3 now because one of them's legged it. But let me turn this around, and Robin, you're going to talk about the ones that we've got here. Okay, right. I'll come around that side, Robin, 1 second.
Do you have any grumpy pumpies?
There's no grumpy pumpies, no. Right, do you want to, can you remember the name of that one first?
This one is a yellow underwing.
That's right, and it's
but the underwing is actually quite orangey instead.
It is, isn't it?
And if I just, it's kind of hard to see if you do that. But...
Do you want me to hold out your hands so you can tap it on your hands? Ready? There we go. Going for a little walk. That's actually a large yellow underwing, isn't it, Barry?
Yep.
Okay.
There's a small one.
Oh, we had a. This was a feathered ranunculus. It's not there anymore. And oh, there he goes. Yeah, there. You can just get a flash then, hopefully on camera.
See that?
Of the not yellow underwing, but actually the slightly orangey. We decided.
His hands are really sticky.
I think that's the Marmite. Actually, it's on your hands.
No, his hands are actually really sticky.
Oh, okay. And then
it's about to take off.
Okay.
Guys, keep watching. It's going to take off. It's going to take off.
Okay. And then
because it looks really pretty when it takes off.
He likes you.
Yeah, he really likes.
And then the only other one we've got here is the lesser yellow underwing, which you can see is a bit smaller. Isn't that right, Robin?
What am I doing?
Oh, so we love the fact that you just found a yellow underwing or yellow underwings, because that was how the whole project started, Amy, 2 years ago.
It does. It takes us full circle, doesn't it? That's right. That's the only other one we got. Okay, thanks, Robin.
Yeah, thank you, Robin, for showing us that.
Now over to the wonderful Barry Henwood, who's going to show us.
Who hasn't looked at his strap yet? So
no, this is all new. We're hoping for some sort of incredible new species.
So we have a black rustic.
Oh, good.
They are lovely.
Yeah.
And just even at first glance, and I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but the colours are all so autumny. They look like a kind of bunch of autumn leaves all together.
Yeah.
Mm.
And here we have a beaded chestnut. So beaded chestnuts are just starting to come out now.
Oh, that's a beautiful colour.
Really vibrant, sort of tawny.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
What have we got underneath? Oh, another black rustic. And yeah, and this one's a yellow line Quaker. So again, they're just starting to come out now.
There we go. You can see that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, yellow line Quaker. So we put that on the floor. What else have we got?
I was going to sleep on the chair.
Oh, we've got another black rustic, and beside it a lunar underwing.
Oh, there we are. They like Abbott's Kurzweil, I think.
Yeah. So all these moths have been in your garden and around, Amy?
Yeah, these are all from my garden. And in fact, if we look here, this is another beaded chestnut. And then further over is another beaded chestnut. And you see the colours vary quite a lot.
You see, I'd be scrabbling around with my field guide going, what's that? And what's that one? They're obviously different, but there's just that colour variation, isn't there?
And
okay, now look under their wings.
Another beaded chestnut.
Mummy, look under their wings.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, just one more thing from Robin. There we go.
Yeah, so we've got beaded chestnut, then lunar underwing.
Yeah.
Then yellow line Quaker.
Wow.
They're just lovely, lovely colours.
They are. And are they mostly from pupa that are in among all the shrubs in your garden, Barry, or are they?
Well, yeah, the
wide
beaded
range?
chestnut will be on sort of, the leaves of woody plants. The lunar underwings on grasses. This yellow moth here, a lot of the moths in the autumn are yellow to be cryptic amongst the autumn leaves. This is the sallow.
Lovely.
Caterpillars, unsurprisingly, feed on fallows. That's lovely.
That is a really nice one.
This one's the cetaceous Hebrew character, which will be feeding on low-growing plants in the garden, like dock, that sort of thing.
And if anybody is wondering what this creature is, it's a caddisfly.
Yeah. Lots of caddisflies around at the moment. Oh, we've got a little micro moth here. This one's called Acleris sparsana.
Somebody's trying to escape.
Feeds on beech mainly.
Ah. Oh, look at that array you've got there.
Yeah, and this is one of the November type moths. So it's probably November moth, but it could be pale November moth or autumnal moth.
Because there's November moth and there's December moths, aren't there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the December moth's a bigger thing altogether. But there's 3 very similar species to this. There's a November, the pale November, and the autumnal moth. Yeah.
And that one there.
There's a beaded chestnut.
The beaded chestnut. But you don't get any other moth names named after the months, do you? It's just those 2, or is it?
It's a July high flyer.
Oh, there we are.
August thorn, a September thorn.
Oh, good.
Right, so we've got the common marble carpet here.
There we go.
Oh yeah, beauty.
This green, iridescent green moth here is the green brindled crescent.
Oh, that's really pretty. I don't know if the camera can pick up the green sort of flash on the back of it. It's really nice.
Try and open it up a bit.
Sorry, what was this one called, Barry?
This is green brindled crescent.
Green brindled crescent.
You've got the green.
Really,
Can you see the green?
really pretty.
So that's a structural colour. There's no green pigment there as such. It's just all to do with scattering of light.
And carpet moths aren't because they eat carpets, are they? They're because they look like wonderful ornate.
Yes, I guess
woven
so. They
carpets.
certainly don't eat carpets.
They
No.
don't eat carpets.
So we got this is lunar underwing and a beaded chestnut next to each other.
And they look really similar, don't they?
Yeah, they do look quite similar. Yeah.
And so if anybody's going to start, some of our audience is new this morning, Barry, and if anybody's going to start with a moth trap and identifying them, you're the chap that collects all the records, aren't you?
I am, yes. Full details of how to submit records are on the Devon Moth Group website. Need to be on a spreadsheet, please.
I use iRecord.
Yes, you can put them into
as well.
iRecord.
I just, if I have an app on my smartphone in my pocket, I'll do it there and then. I find it much easier to do. Otherwise, it ends up on the list.
Yeah, and Simon says he uses iRecord as well. But we've got Catherine, Kat has put the website in the chat. So, yeah.
What's that one there with its bottom poking
That's
out?
a common marble carpet.
Oh, another common marble carpet.
We have the moth, a example of the moth of yours that escaped, Amy.
Oh,
we have a
yeah.
feathered ranunculus.
Yes, that's the one that got away there.
Oh,
probably mine.
Feathered ranunculus.
Yeah.
Brindle
Oh,
crescent.
another one of these. I think that's my new favourite of the month.
Yeah,
that one.
they're beautiful.
Really smashing. And I don't know if I can get a kind of side view, but they've got these. I don't know what the sophisticated word is, but sort of lumps and bumps that I guess help them with their camouflage.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's real stunner.
Like a bit of a dead leaf on a bit of a green branch, doesn't it? Really.
And the black rustic as well. It's so pretty.
Red line Quaker there as well. We haven't seen yet. Red line Quaker.
Red. That was a red line Quaker. Oh yeah, you can just about see the red line on it.
On the back.
Yeah.
Right. So we have another green moth here. You've wasp too.
Oh, who's that?
I'm going to have to try and hold this one open so you can see. But this is a red-green carpet.
Look at that.
But that's a green pigment, so that does fade. It's gone. So that's a red-green carpet. That'll survive the winter. Or I say that, the females survive the winter. They mate in the autumn, and the males die, and the females survive the winter.
So they actually, It's just amazing that those little gentle creatures can possibly survive freezing temperatures as well.
Yeah. But they all do, of course, in one stage or another in their life cycles.
Yeah.
We got more beaded chestnuts here. The green brindled
Another
crescent.
one, not quite as vibrant, that one, as his mate. Yeah.
Do vary a bit.
I don't know if the camera can figure it out, but the colours are so lovely and rich and, you know, so different as well to the ones in May, where there's sort of yellows and pinks and, you know, fresh sort of silvery colours. And
Right, we're on to our last tray now. So there's the snout here we haven't seen.
Oh, that's one you got in the woods, wasn't it?
Yeah, you did.
Little nose.
Yeah, you said they were, what were they, palps? The
Yeah, it's labial palps. They're sort of part of the mouth parts, really.
Yeah.
Which you know, in many moths are tiny, but in some species they sort of, I don't know why they're like that. Possibly to you know, to aid its camouflage, but yeah. Certainly some moths use their palps for camouflage.
Simon, Barry's trap is just down the road from me in Abbots Kerswell. It's sort of, you've got quite a lot of grassland and parkland and woodland around you.
Yeah. And so we got one final moth here. It's a micro moth called Eudonia angustia.
Very small.
It is. It's
And
lovely.
I think survives the winter like that.
So what a fantastic variety you've had.
We've got a caterpillar here too.
Oh, do you know, I didn't even see that one there. Can you see it just on there?
Yeah.
Moving around.
So I don't know what that is. It's probably a micro moth called Androsis cicatrella, or the white-shouldered house moth, and it's probably just living in the bottom of the trap.
I was just wondering, how did it get in there?
Well, it's probably living in there on the sort of, you know, occasionally a moth dies in the trap because it's the end of, you know, their natural lives, and they feed on the sort of dead bodies of moths and well, any sort of organic matter that's around, really.
Yeah. No, well, fantastic. Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you very much. And
All right, pleasure.
What a lovely live collection you've got there, and such an example of the diversity of moths, even at the end of October. So there are different moths out there living in their life cycles at different times throughout the whole year. It's great to be reminded of that and reflect on that energy flow from the sun through the plants into the animals every day. Every day it's going on, and into us, of course, as well. So next we have John Walters, who filmed his. Hi, John. Where were you on Thursday night?
Just down the road at Brook Manor, where I usually set the trap. So there's a nice area of woodland and meadows and all sorts of really good habitats there.
Yeah. So you are going to show us and talk through what you found, and it'll be interesting to compare it to what we've seen so far. I bet there'll be some the same and a few different. We'll see.
Pretty much the same, really, but maybe the odd thing that's different. But if you start the video. So I don't have to get up too early this time of year to go and check the trap, which is a bit more civilized. So about 7:30 I got up there and switched the trap off. And Robbie, who lives there, had set the trap in the evening, so I didn't actually have to go and put it up. And it was a decent number of moths, and there are about 17 species, as you'll see, pretty similar ones to the ones you've seen previously in the program today. So, and again, a whole bunch of autumn leaves, really. They do reflect the autumn colours, so things like beaded chestnuts and lunar underwing moths, all these sort of quite variable, some of these species individually. And they vary, obviously, the different leaves they camouflage on. There's the caddisfly, distant relative of moths, these things. A rosy rustic and a lunar underwing on the left there. And this is the sallow moth we just saw earlier, a beautiful yellow moth, obviously adapted to live amongst the leaves. And the centre-barred sallow, a relative of that moth as well. And the lunar underwing just in the top right there. Rather a worn common marble carpet and a square spot rustic, and the beautiful green brindle crescent we've seen already. And black rustic as well. It's one of my favourite moths at this time of year. Lovely charcoal black moth with a little pale spot on it. And there's another one next door to a centre-barred sallow moth. And there's a whole selection of moths. So these are the moths on the egg boxes. And as usual, after I caught them, I take them out and put them in amongst the leaves just to have a look at how their camouflage works. This is a Lunar Underwing. This is the satellite moth. It's called that because it has this spot on the wing with two little satellite spots. It can be white or it can be orange in this case. And this is a moth which hibernates over the winter. And there's another sallow moth in amongst the autumn leaves there. Beautifully camouflaged, and another one. If you put them into the anywhere in amongst the leaves, they just soon melt away. There's a centre-barred sallow. How the camouflage works really. It seems to work in all sorts of situations amongst dead leaves. There's a yellow lying Quaker as well. That one's just sitting still and just blends into the background. And so it's a Lunar Underwing. And again, just amazing bits of camouflage here.
Yeah, it's just incredible, John, isn't it? And the variety between the same species as well.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of variation. And the black rustic, again, you think it's black, but it does actually meld in with the backgrounds. There's often bits of black, darkened leaves and things around. And it just sits well with all the autumn colours. There's the frosted orange, which I'm not sure if we've seen today. This one, the caterpillar lives inside stems of thistles and burdocks and plants like that, foxgloves. And there's the green brindle crescent really in its true habitat. So you can see how that little silvery bits of green just melted away in amongst the moss and the bark there. Finally, this is a bit of a worn one. This is a Mauvais du jour.
Hooray!
Not the best specimen. Again, that camouflage, usually amongst lichens and things, but it melts away in any background on any trees, really.
Yep. Well, we didn't see one of those today, and I think people were hoping that they might. So I'm glad you found one.
Yeah, they're a little bit worn. Yeah, maybe they've been out a while, so not so many.
Simon said earlier that some of these moths may have been might have come out a bit sooner because it's been so warm in the autumn.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
Do you think that's true?
It's difficult to say with autumn moths because what triggers them, obviously spring moths are triggered by this warming up of the temperatures, but the autumn moths, it's maybe due to more to things cooling down, but or maybe just the time of year and day length that brings them out. But yeah, I don't know really.
No, I suppose. So I suppose they may not have come out yet. So if
some species, yeah,
want to go out there in next month and perhaps
they may be just emerging a little bit late. And the spring was quite cold, so things that had caterpillars in the spring may have been delayed a bit.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of variation in all the different species because as the weather varies through the year. So we had quite a cold spring this year, which did delay a lot of stuff. So as we saw earlier in the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's really good. Thank you very much, John. And
right.
Next month we may be doing something slightly different. I'm going to hand over to Jenny, but we hopefully will see you in November and our other mothers, because we would love to get a little celebration together when we come back from COP and see what is out and about in November. But I'll hand thank you very much, John, and I'll hand over to Jenny, and Jenny's going to finish off this Watch Moths with a little bit more info.
I'm a bit nervous, Naomi, that I thought you were going to say Jenny's going to tell us what's happening next month, because I don't know about you, but everything has been so focused for the last 2 years, really, on getting ourselves to COP. In fact, it's been focused on making the moths, and then that kind of project staggering, and I don't know what's happening next month. I'm excited, and I'm loving the project. It's great. So I am going to. I just wanted to say, so we've had a couple of mentions of other things found in moth traps, and I was moth trapping with some Year 6 primary school children, and we found in one corner of one of the egg boxes a spider overnight had made a web and had caught one of the moths. and one of the little boys reached into the trap, pulled out this egg box. Ah, miss, there's a spider. I'm a bit scared of spiders. And then he realized that this spider was devouring the moth in front of us. And we went from the moth still fluttering a little bit, and I was kind of thinking, oh, you know, should I rescue the moth? Actually, it's probably too late by this point. And by the time we'd finished 20 minutes later talking about moths and investigating the other things in the moth trap, there was only a pair of wings left. And that kind of energy system, and coming back to what Claire's been talking about, you know, it's harsh, but it's life, and it's really interesting, that thinking about how much we do all rely on energy, and yeah, how integral it is to all of our lives, from spiders through to moths, and so on. So just to bring us back to the website, so mothstoflame.art. If you haven't looked at it recently, please do. If you were a little late joining us this morning, absolutely fine. You're not going to get reported to the headmistress or anything like that. The recording from last night's session and this morning's session will all be added into the news section. Is it the news section or the join in? Oh, that's a good question. We'll be adding it onto the website, so you can catch up on there through our YouTube channel. As Chloe mentioned, there are literally a couple of days left if you would like to send in your milk bottle moths to the plot address, and we'll be stringing those up and taking them up with us in this wonderful electric van. There'll be more events being added as we go, so let's just have a quick look on there. There's all sorts when we get up to Glasgow. I'm looking at the wrong month, so we want to go through to November. And we've got lots in here with the installation open, but there will also be some live streaming and the potential for adding on some more live events once we're up there and we know what our plans are a bit more. So please keep an eye on there. We'd love it if you were able to join us in Glasgow, whether that's in person or online, or just watching and keeping up with what's happening. And then we'll be heading back to Plymouth for Illuminate Festival at the end of the month, which again, there's a whole load of things that need adding in here. So we're working with Real Ideas organisation and their fantastic new 360 dome in Plymouth. And there will be something mothy coming soon to a 360 dome in Plymouth. So we're really excited about that. So yeah, just generally encourage you to explore the website, catch up on the project, and as I mentioned yesterday, there is at the bottom this donate button. The transport getting up there is everything always costs a bit more than you expect, and with the current energy issues, prices are increasing daily, so our budget is there, but it's being stretched. So if you're able to donate, that would be wonderful, and if not, then please spread the word, share the project, let other people know about it, and celebrate how many people have been involved. And I think that's probably about it for Watch Moths.
Yeah, one last reminder to vote, maybe.
Oh yes, please. We're going to hopefully Kat's going to pop the link back in the chat again. Please do vote for us. I'm going to let Chloe say something.
Well, send it, share it. Just please, could you encourage others to vote too, because it's a very exciting project, and we're so proud of everyone who's been involved in it. It would be great to win that prize.
And Kat's also said that the recordings go in the news section. That was me having a moment there, couldn't remember where they went, but yeah, so if you give us an hour or so to get them loaded up, but they will be on there from tomorrow morning, I guess. So if you want to catch up on the recordings, then come and join us.
Yeah, and thank you to all our presenters. It was fantastic seeing Barry and John's films and everybody live as well, speaking about their passion for moths and their ecosystems. So thanks for getting up early, everybody, and we will see you at the end of the month for another and last Watch Moths, which will be with a little bit of a twist. So we'll share it and promote it, and look forward to seeing you then. Thank you. So, bye-bye.
We've just had a request, so we'll be emailing the links through as well for the feedback form and also for the voting. And we really, we're not just saying it, we would so appreciate your support. Thank you. Continue.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good luck. Good luck at COP.
Thank you.
Woo, 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 woo.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye-bye, Simon. Nice to see you. See you soon. Bye.